You are not a burden and nothing is wrong with you relationally. We're not taught how to be secure in ourselves, what secure attachment actually looks like within ourselves, and how to be in healthy relationship. We were not taught this, and as a result, our relationships are floundering, and therapy, the traditional therapy field, in my opinion, has become really ineffective. And so I'm going to be quite honest, after my years of doing traditional therapy and then transitioning into coaching, I still haven't been serving in a way that actually aligns with how I believe healing happens, because I believe it requires all of us to be radically all of ourselves, to not hide any of it, because the second we start hiding, we put ourselves into boxes and we make ourselves a fraction of what we really are. And when we can allow ourselves to be all of ourselves and allow other people to see that, it gives everyone permission to release the shame, and this de-armoring happens, and that's where our nervous systems start to heal. And so I know deeply that healing happens within relationship. We can work on ourselves so much one-on-one, and it's not until somebody holds up a mirror to you that you start to break down all of this patterning, because the second somebody comes into your life, you're going to feel the nervous system fears of the fear of abandonment, the fear of intimacy, the fear of rejection. They come up strongly, and we are humans and we can't avoid that. However, when we work together in containers, in groups, and in relationship, we can start repatterning our nervous system, rewiring our inner child into more safety and security within our bodies and within the container of relationship. And so as a new offering within Guide to Be, I'm offering a group for women and a group that's co-ed. The group for women is called Be Within. Guide to Be Within. How can we be within this physical vessel? And the co-ed group is 10 people and it's called Be With. How do we learn how to be with another person, to adequately hold another person and create safe relationship? What is the relationship container, and how can we authentically relate? What are authentic relationship skills? And I will be guiding us through those 10 weeks of how to be in healthy relationship with our masculine, our feminine, and other people in our lives. And so these two groups are truly so meaningful to me, because I can be working with people one-on-one, but I've been feeling this pull of like, you're meant to work with groups, because I know that we're meant to not do this alone. And it's a time now, it's more important than ever, that we let go of this belief system. I can't even tell you the amount of times somebody comes to me and says, I feel like a burden coming to somebody else. And so frankly, I have a really hard time doing one-on-one work, feeling like sometimes people are just coming to me because they don't know where else to go, because feel like a burden going to their partner. They feel like a burden calling their sister. They feel like a burden going to a friend, because everyone feels like so many people around them have so much going on, and so we suppress it all down. No wonder we're depressed. No wonder we're anxious. This energy has to go somewhere. It needs to move, and we need to feel valid for feeling it all. And so specifically within the Be Within women's group, it's 8 people. It's an intimate group of women, and it's all about how to be within this physical body. I've really dove into somatic work over the last few years of my own healing. I'm a classic coping mechanism of a people pleaser and a perfectionist, and it led me to self-abandon all the time to create harmony for the people around me. And yes, those tendencies still come up, but by being within this physical vessel to be with my pain, my grief, my trauma processing, I've really been able to then hold those higher states of abundance and freedom and liberation, and allowing myself to just be all that I am without so much self-criticism. And I recognize within so many people that I've worked with that we are so self-critical as women. We so easily feel like we have to wear 5 million hats because society tells us so, and it means that we're abandoning all the time what we're feeling inside. We're abandoning our priorities in order to meet the pressures of everything around us. And in this group, we're going to learn how to be within the body, how to express our desire, how to express our pain, how to move through these things somatically with the inner child and with the expansion of our nervous system. This is a spiritual group. This is a heart-centered group. This is like a radically wild, authentic group. And within this space, again, in these 10 weeks, we do 5 calls. You get 2 30-minute one-on-one calls with me and 1 long 90-minute deep dive. And then after the 10 weeks are up, I will continue to check in our group for the next 3 months. So it's basically a 6-month container where you learn how to be within your system. How do I stay here even when I want to flee? How do I stay here when I want to run? How do I stay here when I want to fawn and people please? How do I stay here when I want to fight? And how do we stop numbing and start returning back to this place that we've abandoned? We've abandoned it through body dysmorphia. We've abandoned it through trying to shrink our bodies. We've abandoned it through sex and intimacy. We've abandoned it through drugs and alcohol. We've abandoned it through seeking validation. And how do we start embodying her? This is a vessel that we get to honor and allow the emotions to flow through so that we'll give ourselves permission to have the full range and spectrum of emotion versus putting it on somebody else of why are you stifling my emotional expression? If you feel like other people are stifling your emotional expression, first you have to allow this full range. That is the beauty, the wildness of being in our feminine, is to have a container to feel all of it and hold all of it ourselves. Can we be that safe space? It's going to be a beautiful group. The other group is Be With. How do we learn how to be with? Again, my background is all in marriage and family therapy. I love relationship work. And so this is a group that is balanced between masculine and feminine energies. It may be 5 men and 5 women. It might be a different compilation of individuals, but ideally we're working kind of within this balanced relational field of how do we find the awareness of our masculine, the awareness of our feminine energies, the wounded parts of those, how those show up within the relationship, where I lose myself, where I operate from projection, where I operate from blame and shame. How can I heal and hold those wounded parts and turn it into this divine expression so that I have capacity to sit with my inner child? Therefore, I can sit with somebody else's inner child and hold it compassionately. We were not taught how to do this, and as a result, we don't operate in relationships from an authentic, compassionate, soft place. Instead, we are feeling like somebody else is to blame. We don't have the skills for communication. We don't have the skills for real, true intimacy. We don't have the skills to build a safe container for trust. Instead, we're just diving in without building any foundation. And I see this within so many couples that I work with, where it's like, oh, you don't have a foundation. The foundation that you're having children upon, or that you are diving into moving in with each other upon, is not built necessarily on like true trust and true safety of, can you hold me? Can you hold me? Can you hold me? Can you hold yourself? Can you be a safe place for yourself? Do you have the dedication, the devotion to yourself? Therefore, can you do that for me? I don't know. We have to learn how to build this field where we are operating through this compassionate, grounded, rooted, secure lens. So what does secure attachment look like in relationship from the inside out? And in this container, we feel into building the foundation of safety within the container so that we can all root into what's authentic for me, and so that we can start expressing where are the wounds that have come up for me within relationship, and we can hold space together and say, wait, it can be different. What would that look like within my nervous system to not go into that fleeing, that fighting, or that anxious fawning, or that anxious grasping that I do within relationship? We shift the cycle together, because anxious and avoidant attachment work together, or the disorganized ping-ponging from anxious to avoidant, avoidant to anxious is going to show up within anyone that we attract or anyone that maybe you're in partnership with now. This would be a beautiful group to come into with a partner, or you can be single and be just wanting to work on how am I relating to my coworkers? How am I relating to my family? How am I relating to my friends? How am I relating to future partners? And you are going to learn the skills to build that trust, that intimacy, that safety, so that you really know how to communicate through a really healthy way. We are meant to now, again, more than ever, build healthy foundations for relationships. Let's build secure attachment from the inside out. If these groups interest you, submit your initial interest application and I'll be in touch.